Good afternoon. Today I'm going to attempt to replace the capacitor, the graphics card capacitor on the Macbook Pro 2010. I got the video from Rossmann on how to do this. I got the capacitor, which I'm going to try to zoom in on here. It's a little itty bitty thing from Rossmann Group. It came pretty quickly, within about 4 or 5 days. I bought a soldering station from Amazon. I bought some wick and some, I guess, high quality solder, lead solder as they spoke about. What else did I get? That's about it. The soldering station was around 90 bucks. That guy there, it came with most everything I would need other than the wick and higher quality solder. It came with some lead-free solder. So I'm going to give it a shot. I do have some, I'm an electrician, I do have some soldering experience. And we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to record it as I go. Okay, at this point I'm going to try to desolder the capacitor. You can see the new one sitting near it. I'm going to move it right now, and I double checked the new one for polarity. The stripe is positive. I'll show you, the stripe is positive, so it's oriented the way it's going to be installed. A little bigger, as it says in Lewis's video. So I'll move this out of the way, and we're going to do like Lewis said. And I got this new soldering blower, I guess you'd call it, I'm not sure. And I'm going to blow away from the CPU so I don't heat it up. I left the heat sink on there like he said. We're going to warm it up here and try to get that bugger to come loose. So this will be the first time I did something like this. I'm used to just soldering directly through the board kind of hole thing. So we'll see how I do. I got it on half speed, 515 degrees, I guess you'd call it. It has a nice digital meter on the soldering station to show me what it was set at 512, so I just made it 515 because I don't know, just bumped it up a smidge. I don't know if this is going to get hot enough, but we will see. I may have to turn the blower up, but I thought the less I heat up everything else, the better. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. I kind of like that I can see it in the phone, because it's so damn small. Doing it without the video running, it's hard to see. It is very small. Yep, not hot enough yet. Just letting her warm up, hoping I'm not wrecking nothing. I did look it up that Apple would basically replace the board, not the capacitor. I actually asked my store that I normally go to for MacBook repairs if they could change the capacitor. He said no, he would change the board completely. So if we're going to change the board anyway, I figured why not give it a shot with the capacitor. Worst case, I can donate it to Lewis for his videos, or pay somebody to do it for me if I do not succeed. It's got to be pretty dang hot. Yeah, but it's not moving. I feel a lot of heat. I'm wondering if being on a plastic workbench is a smart idea at this point. It's just the top of a tote, but I didn't want to ruin the table under it. So I tipped it up a little bit, and if it don't come soon, well, it's got to warm up and come off of here. So Still heating her up. Hoping it works. That was the smallest tip that came with the kit for the soldering station, so I just went with that by default. I'm almost thinking I'd like a smaller one, but impatience. Yep, not coming yet. It came with these nice tweezers. I'm glad it did, because would have been in trouble without tweezers. There's no way you're putting your fingers in there. It feels pretty hot right now. Okay, we're still going. Might turn the fan up a little bit, just a little bit. Maybe you can hear it on the video. I don't know. I got her up to about 45 now. Let me see, about 50. It goes from 20 to 80, whatever fan speed. I put it halfway just cause. I don't know. So I'm trying to get this bugger to come loose. It's not moving. I'm afraid to heat the whole darn board. Maybe. No, I'm going to give it another few seconds. Yep, nothing. It's not moving. Turn it up to about 60. Maybe should have started at 60. I'm just curious. This heat sink's not very hot. I got my finger on it over on the CPU heat sink. It's warm, but I can grab it. Still, I guess if I wreck this CPU, GPU, whatever it is right next to this, I'm done, according to Lewis. So try not to do that. So I'm going away from the CPU. Heat up, buddy. Oh, there. It's a wiggle wobble, maybe not. Maybe I'm just being impatient and hopeful. Alright, I'm gonna crank it right up. There you go. 80 whatever it is, CFMs or whatever the heck the fan speed is. Because it took less time for Lewis to do this, he's probably got better tools. Come on, baby, heat up. Now when I tested this capacitor, it had a quick short from positive to negative, and made me think that this capacitor is bad. And I figured if that's not the case, worst case, I upgraded the capacitor that it's typically a problem on this board. I'm going to do all the research I did. It's still not coming. I don't want to break anything. That's as fast as it goes, 515 degrees. If it doesn't come soon, I'm going to research and see maybe it needs to be hotter. Oh, there it goes. Alright, it's just moving. We're going to give it another second just to make sure the opposite side, because it's not moving yet. The close side moved. I'm going to get her close. Right on down on top of that bugger. Yeah. It's going. After I do this, I'm going to take a break. And then we'll prep the board for the new capacitor. Well, good thing we don't need that. I just broke it. Set this aside. And hope this booger comes off here soon. And that would be the inside of the capacitor. That now will never work again. At least I can get closer to it and get it to release, I hope. This surely does not want to come off. I got another piece. There's one more there. I might take that off with a soldering iron, because I'm afraid of heating it to this board up so dang much. another little piece on there. Trying to get it. Nope, it's not coming. I feel like I'm burning the board a little bit, but maybe not. It's not too bad. So it took me so far about 9 minutes. It's very hot here. I don't know about that piece. I don't know if I pulled it up from the board or if it's part of the capacitor. I feel like it's part of the capacitor. Oh, there it goes. There she goes. There's that part of the board. I don't know. Yep. A little struggling, never done this before. Now, I'm going to try that with a soldering iron. Warm it up, maybe it'll come off there. I think it'll be more direct heat. There's the mount. Okay. They recommend you don't run both at the same time, so I'm going to turn off that and turn the fan up, and then I'm going to turn the soldering iron. It sure did heat up pretty quick, the soldering iron, before. It's at 300 degrees already. And 400, 515. I probably should have looked at what the temperature should have been, because it looks like I can go up quite a ways. So let's see. Will this warm up? Oh, I wanted to tin the soldering iron. So I'll do this video in a minute. I'm going to let the soldering iron open up or heat up, and we'll be back. Okay, I tinned the brand new soldering iron. We're going to try to get that little piece off of there and see what happens. I don't know if it's, yeah, I think it's a little piece. Yeah, a lot more solid this way than that blower. I felt like all that heat was gonna wreck something. Might just be my inexperience. Just wondering what'll happen here. The solder sure did melt quick. There we go. It's melting for me. Not heating up fast. I'm going to look up and see what the temperature should be on this soldering iron. One moment. Okay, so that was the problem. It wasn't actually set at 515, it was set at 575. I had to look down at the gauge a little closer. It's supposed to be around between 626. Let me look. I got it here. What temperature? It should be 626 to 662 Fahrenheit. So I set her at 630. It said lowest temperature possible is best. And we'll see, that bugger's going to melt now. I wasn't at melting temperature, because it melts at a region of 370. Of course, it's not going to be nice. I was hoping it was going to be real quick, just like Rossmann's video. And his tools are probably more expensive than mine. They probably work better. But we're going to try to get that little piece off there, which I think is a piece of the capacitor. And once I do that, I bought a little flux. I'll put some of that on the board and a little bit of solder. We'll clean it up like he did, and then install the new capacitor. My only struggle so far is getting everything to heat up for me. Of course, it was too low temperature before. Now it's at 630. Maybe I'll go mid-range. 30, 40, 50, 60. So maybe I'll go to 645. If this doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't want to be nice to me. Baby melt. Maybe. Got my tweezers in hand, waiting for it to move around. Warm her up. Oh, something's happening. And I remember solder it, and once it melts all at once. So. Yeah. I will check the connection for ground as well, being that I'm beating up this ground area here pretty good. Dadgum. Let me try something, put a little solder on it. It does have a rosin core. Of course, yeah, that's melting just fine. No, whatever. That piece does not want to let go. Wish I could show you. It's a little bump sticking up above. Not moving. I'm going to bump that sucker up a little bit. 640. 645. Okay, I'm on. Warm up, baby. Minute here, I'm gonna jack it some more. I would think this would heat up some quicker. Y'all had to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want this heat up. Okay, 660 it is. Not going any higher than that. Make sure the solder melts real good on there. does. 6. Okay, come on, heat up. Everything's getting liquid. That's good. Come on, little piece. I'm gonna make a mess. There it comes. Okay, sort of, not really. Now I got a big piece. Mostly solder. Gummit. There, melt. Melt for me, melt for me. Okay. Oh, come on up there. Alright. There's that piece. There it is. Come on out of there. I'm trying to get it. It's a really teeny spot in there. Oh, I think I got it. Right there she is. Okay. Oh, it fell under the board. Well, it'll be alright there for a minute. I'm going to try some of this. Well, I got to put some flux on there. I think. Supposedly no clean flux, but then I read reviews you do have to clean it a little. I'm going to put a little on there. Okay, there's some flux. Ooh, yeah. And I think I saw him put some solder on the flux. Some solder on that flux. And we liquid it all up. Boy, that wasn't a lot of solder, but it sure did turn into a lot of flux, turned into a lot. I'm gonna melt this one. Then we're gonna get that desoldering wick like he did. Try to clean up this board. And this one here's gonna be fun. There's a lot of solder in there. Nope, it's not coming. Come on, give me some more. Yeah, you'll have, what do you want to call, inexperience here. Soldering wick's a little warm. There we go. There we go. I have to look up how to clean flux off the board. I think I put a little solder on each one. It's going to be touchy because I am right-handed all day long. Melt and spread for me, would you? Well, the soldering wick's nice and solid. If I put too much heat on here, coming off. That looks pretty. Okay, lesson 1, make sure your video is running when you take it. The last video I took of cleaning the board did not take because when I pushed play it didn't go on. But anyways, I checked the temperature and it's supposed to be between 626 and 662 degrees Fahrenheit for electronics. I had it at actually 575. I thought it was 515, but I couldn't see the top of the 7 on my meter. So another lesson to be learned. Look at the meter real close. So anyways, I turned it up to 630, I think it was, and it still wasn't melting real good. So then I went to 640 and ultimately 660. It broke free. I got the piece off of there. I used the soldering wick and we cleaned off the board. I put some flux on there and some fresh solder. Wicked it again. Looks pretty clean. Gonna take a little break. This is very delicate work. Take a little break and we will get into soldering the new capacitor on the board. Hope that goes well, and then we'll assemble the computer and see if we're successful. I'll be back soon. Okay. I read some more about the temperature. Another fella's talking about 700 degrees might work better. So rather than boring you on a test video, I put more flux on the board, set my soldering iron for 700 degrees Fahrenheit, and it worked quick like I expected. So it worked well. I also pre-tinned the new capacitor. So now I set my blower at full speed fan, 700 degrees, and we're going to try to apply the new capacitor. Polarity correct. I double checked a couple times. Basically, there's a band on the back side, wherever that is, right there. The band is positive. The positive was this pin here on the old one, and negative there. Because Rossmann makes this nice, or sends this nice capacitor that has 2 ground connections, and I did double check them. I don't have to scrape the board like some of the older videos. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this around. Actually, I want to put a little more flux on there because they're telling me flux is the god. So we're gonna put just a little bit of flux there. If I can get this jug to squirt for me, it's like there we go. And a little on here. And we'll be cleaning that off, and a little bit on there. And when you heat it up, that stuff will kind of evaporate quickly, the way I read. So I got new flux everywhere. I'm going to set this booger here. And we're going to begin heating. I might have too much solder. I guess we'll see. I will test it for a short. I'm trying to look. I'm going to get my little flashlight, see what I see here. And it looks like it's lined up pretty good. Might float a little bit, but as long as the solder doesn't float. together, we should be good. So I got my heater. I'm gonna scooch it a little closer to me and get myself a little more cord. Heat up, and there's the flux doing. Oh wow, that's moving. Heat it up, and hopefully that'll settle in place for me. First time I ever done one of these. Alrighty. It's very hot. Oh, come on, heat up, baby. Oh boy, that didn't work good. Okay, so we're going to check our polarity, make sure I got it the right way before I continue to try this again. And we got it. Get back on there. So I was getting a little impatient. Lewis does make this look easy. Not quite as easy as it looked on the video, but he's just been doing it a lot longer than me. And one guy said practice on a new board, or an old board. Oops, I almost tried that. Looks like I lost my solder right here. You know, it got flat and it tried to settle and it didn't work. Yeah. Oh boy. Hey, tacky solder's a pain in the bum. Yeah, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Come on. I don't want to touch it and leave my fingerprints all over it. And it sure is being a pain in the butt, sticking every damn thing but the freaking solder I want it to stick to. Alright, come on. Alright. Boy, that tacky solder, or flux, is no fun. It said tacky, no clean flux. So I said, well, that sounds good, no clean. Alright, we better hold it in place now, because the wind keeps blowing it away. There we go. There, it melted. I see it. I see it. What I don't want is to get this all done and find out that one didn't set. So I'm going to test it. I think I see it bubbling there, so we're going to hope that's it. Oh my goodness, I slid the whole thing. What moved? My goodness. So basically I had struggles getting that to set. It feels like it's set. So I'm going to test it somehow. And maybe this video is a flop. I will have to read it. But let's turn this off before I melt my refrigerator. Okay. I'm going to clean it and test it. And then if it works, we'll put her in the computer. Okay, we have the computer all back together. After some research, I downloaded Apple hardware test. It's on a USB chip over there, and we're gonna run this test, see how it goes. And I was into the operating system. I ran a GPU benchmark. It ran well. It has not crashed yet, knock on wood. So we'll see how the test goes, and I'll be back with a video for that. So after the 1 hour long hardware test, the result is no trouble found. So I think we're all set. We'll clean it up, fingerprints and all, and get it ready to get back to the customer. By the way, I didn't charge anything to do this. It was, well, just the part, which was $10 with shipping. Otherwise, I chalk it up to good experience, and I can help people all the time. It's actually a coworker's MacBook, and ready to roll. Take care. Bye.